Hi everyone, thank you for joining me again for the recording of this week's blog. I appreciate you being with me once again. Today I am kind of getting my Irish on. I have a nice bright green, and I'm also wearing my peacock scarf in honor of my mom, because when she was alive she loved peacocks, and so whenever I wear this it makes me feel close to her. So anyway, just thought I'd share that before we start. But now we will start. So what is soulful kindness? It would be wise for all of us to have one main rule in our homes for anyone who enters our sacred space. The rule is simple. The only thing we ask is that people bring their kindness with them when they walk through the door. If they mindlessly or carelessly left it home, and they should bring with them their bad mood, their anger or hostility, and take it out on us or anyone who should be there, we should most likely, we will ask them to leave. Now that may sound harsh, but creating a place filled with peaceful energy and joy is important. We want everyone coming to our home to feel a sense of tranquility. And we'll find that once we put that rule into place, we will eventually notice that by the law of attraction, we no longer attract people into our homes or our lives who would even think about being unkind, because our boundaries are firm. Just be kind. In some Native American spiritual traditions, they utilize what's called a burden basket. In earlier days, they would leave a basket outside the entrance to their teepee. And before anyone entered, they were asked to leave their burdens in the basket. Symbolically, of course. It was not okay to unload or heap all of their problems onto the person or persons who lived there. The occupants, of course, could ask their visitor how they were and if anything was bothering them. And in that case, of course, they were free to discuss what was, aching inside of them or troubling their hearts. This does not mean that when we are struggling, we should not reach out to friends and family who love us and want to be there for us when we need them. However, when we assault them, so to speak, unexpectedly with torrents of pain and frenzied, inconclusive dramas, most likely just made up by our egos anyway, they may not be in an emotional place where they are able to help us. Perhaps our consistent, non-professional friend/therapist is going through a dark night of their soul as well, and our problems spewed at them only serve to intensify their own pain. Therefore, if we do choose to reach out to someone for help, or a strong shoulder or compassionate ear, we should just ask first if it's a good time. If we decide that we're unable or unwilling even to share our struggles with another human soul, then what do we do then? Well, there's many things, but one of the simple things is just come back home to ourselves. Come back home to ourselves for the love, the kindness, and the wisdom we're seeking. It's important for us to remember that kindness is something that emerges from a life that is dedicated to love, compassion, and forgiveness. It's a soul quality that's a reflection of what lies in one's heart. It's easy to be kind when we're surrounded by kind people. Not so easy when the people in our midst, even our own snarky egos, are spewing harsh words, foul language, and accusations of false perceptions, or even authentic ones. Being kind is a choice, just as being unkind is. If we find ourselves lost in a cloud of darkness and despair and feel a desperate need to unleash it somewhere, anywhere, just to be free of it, we really do need to just hit the pause button. Entering our sacred temple in prayer and meditation, of course, is probably the best choice at that moment. However, during those times, it can be very difficult to calm the mind enough to get there. So what can we do to break free of our dark thoughts and feelings of depression and despair? Well, the choice, of course, involves kindness and self-acceptance. At that moment, trying to push it away, push away the unwanted or agonizing emotions is most likely not the way to make them dissipate. The saying, whatever we resist persists. Perhaps we need to acknowledge them and sit with them for just a moment. We can try to summon some inspired and loving thoughts from our hearts, from the authentic awareness that we are, and from the beautiful being of light that defines us and never leaves us, always there with us. And we can find it even in these kinds of times. We can be for ourselves a kind, loving, compassionate, and accepting friend that is always willing and anxious to help us through our passing storms. It's always a good idea to ask our team of light to give us a hand with our efforts. So the following is kind of the way I talk to myself. It's kind of weird, but everyone has their own way of just finding that voice to help nurture ourselves. It's okay. We can say to our suffering selves, your tears are understandable. Your emotions are real. They can be rising up in you so that you can learn from them. Everything is part of your soul's plan so that you can grow and evolve. You know that. You don't have to understand the lessons right now. Yet you can still be willing to allow them to teach you and trust that in time they will. Just open the door to your awareness, to your consciousness, and just step confidently inside. That's who you are. It's what's real, genuine, and never changes. That inner temple is where hope is, and abundant self-forgiveness is the elixir that will help you weather this fleeting yet painful moment. Just know that you are loved by your Creator, your team of light, and by the infinite oneness that connects us to all of us, every divine soul ever created. However, you're human too. You have to remember that. And we're together, both of us, our soul and our human part. We're one, and we can get through this. Okay, so that's a stretch and a mouthful of sweetness and positivity to be able to shower ourselves with during our times of crisis and confusing sadness that really sometimes doesn't even have a reason. Might not even be a specific thing. It just overcomes us. We wake up with it sometimes even. So yet with practice, we learn to summon summon the sort of kindness from within that is life-changing and transcendent. It's a moment to experience the beingness that we are. It is also an instant to remember the infinite love that we are, and at the same time be compassionate for the humanness that sometimes momentarily derails us from the tracks of our soul train. Like all other gifts of spirit, we cannot give them away to others if they don't first exist within us. Being kind and gentle with ourselves, especially at times when we screw up badly and make mistakes that make us cringe with regret and remorse, can be challenging. Regret is an understandable response, but it's not useful in the forward evolution of our souls. Regret keeps us stuck in the past, reliving moments that we can't change, and perpetuating our suffering. Self-forgiveness, self-correction, and even apologies, if necessary, and restitution to those we may have wronged or hurt is a more productive response. And remember, the point of power is always in the present moment, not the illusionary past or future. Sometimes mentally projecting outward toward the potential consequences of our difficult experiences and poor choices can be really overwhelming. We can rarely predict what will happen anyway, so why go there? All any of us really have is the present moment. The choices we make in the eternal now shape our destiny. What better choice is there than loving kindness? It doesn't have to be the big things in our lives that build our kindness muscles. Sometimes it's the small, seemingly insignificant things that can light us up and help us remember our beauty and our magnificence. A genuine smile and a quiet good morning offered to someone passing you on your morning walk at the park can be a most needed gift to that person at that moment. Holding the door for a person leaving a store with abundant packages in their arms can be a gesture that reminds perhaps a temporarily disillusioned someone that there is still kindness and generosity in the world. Even simply being a silent, consistent, and loving light in the darkness and chaos that often seems unbearable can usher in the positive changes that we wish to see in the world. Whatever we give to the world, we know comes back to us multiplied. So the more we mindfully practice kindness each day, the more abundant will be the kind people that will fill our lives. Together as one, we can move our world closer to a place of unity, benevolence, compassion, and love. Together we are strong. Together we are fearless, powerful, and utterly capable of bringing God's glorious heaven to our beautiful earth. We got this. We truly do. Okay, so this is really obviously a thing. I know we should be kind. The whole thing with spiritual truth and spiritual practices is to remember that we're all spiritual partners on a path. And we forget. We forget the things that we know to be true, especially during times of crisis. We forget how strong we are. We forget how beautiful we are. And it's up to the people in our lives that we have on our path to help us. But it's also our job, if there's no one there for us to help remind us of how wonderful we are, we need to take a moment, look in the mirror even, look deeply into our own eyes, and just say, I love you. You're terrific. Everybody makes mistakes, it's okay. However is your way of talking to you that feels right for you, it's important for us first to be kind to ourselves. If we are, consistently, and if we're not, like I've said this before, sometimes I'll go, oh, Drew, you're such an idiot for blah, blah, whatever it happens to be. And then the other voice in my head will say, don't you be unkind to her. Stop being mean. She's doing a good job. You just stop. And that brings me back to remembering that I need to be kind with myself because, again, you can't give away what you don't have. So if we have kindness within us, it's very easy then to look past people's faults and frailties and prickliness and offer them kindness. Even if there's something that we need to say that might hurt them, we're not coming from a place of trying to hurt. You know, we can say the same exact words to a person, these same words, but with completely different motivation. One can be to hurt or wound and the other one to heal. When we want to hurt or wound, that's always coming from the ego, trying to lash out and be right or whatever it happens to be. The other one comes from our soul. And in those moments, we need to take the energy from our heart center, bring it to our throat center, and then speak those same words in an effort to promote healing with no attachment to the outcome. That's our intention, and that's the most important thing, is the intention to be kind and to heal. And then our life is a testament to kindness. We are kindness, just as we are love and we are light. So that's enough because it's only almost 15 minutes here. That's a lot. So if you got all the way through this, I really appreciate you being with me today again, and have a wonderful, light-filled, loving day with lots of kind people. Namaste.